Good morning. So it's damp, been raining most of the night, but stopped now. But definitely nice, you chill in the air. You can see your breath. So today, well, actually, officially yesterday was a very special day. It's 12 months since I had my hernia repair op. A reminder, it was called an inguinal hernia, which is a groin hernia, very common in men. Just on me, it was on the left-hand side there, so I've got a scar about that long, so that is 4 or 5 inches long, something like that. They just cut in there, repaired it, put some wadding in, I believe, to help support that area, because that area of your lower abdominals is very weak, which is one of the reasons why your intestines basically pop out through there. So I wanted a quick run through really. So the process, I live in Leicestershire. The process in Leicestershire was really, really good. I went to the doctor, I think it was something like beginning of December, something like that. I was having a shower one night, and there was a lump there, and straight away pretty much I thought that's a hernia. I knew what it was. There was a burning sensation when it came out, which I found uncomfortable and unpleasant. So I booked in to see. Went to see a doctor, a relatively young, sort of probably 30-year-old female doctor. She said, "Oh, best thing to do is to live with it." And I said, "Unfortunately, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. They say don't lift anything. My whole life revolves around lifting things. I do martial arts. I do jiu-jitsu, which is very similar to judo. So I do a lot of throwing. So they say you can't lift stuff, lift heavy things. I'm stuffed completely. I can't do anything that I need to do for my job." So she then went off to find her boss. Wasn't available. She came back and said, I'll check for you. And about 2 hours later, thankfully to her, thank you very much, she rung me, and she booked me in for an ultrasound over at Glenfield, which is just Glenfield Surgery. They've got an ultrasound clinic at the back. Ultrasound is that thing they do with the monitor thing over your stomach, the scanner over your stomach when you're pregnant. Same thing really. So the chap there did an ultrasound on that. Did my testicles as well. Apparently I don't know if they were concerned by that or just having fun. Who can say? They did that as well, and it was all good, which is good to know. So they confirmed it was definitely a hernia. I was then booked in to see the consultant at my standard surgery at the end of January, and I was all ready to, get the tissues out and blame mental health and whatever I needed to in order to get this operation done, because I really, really wanted the operation done. I had been wearing a hernia belt, which is it's literally like a elasticated belt with a bit of wadding in that area. You could place it on the area, and it basically is meant to hold it in from the outside. It was okay, but it got very hot and quite uncomfortable to wear after a while, and I was really pleased to take it off at the end of the evening. So anyway, I went to see the consultant at the end of January. He looked a lot like Danny DeVito. And I said, "Are you going to do the other side as well, just to make sure it doesn't happen?" He said, "Oh no, you'll do that." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You'll make sure that in future you don't do things that cause a hernia." And I thought, well, I'm fit. I look after myself. I try very hard to do sensible exercises, and if I feel a pull at a certain part of my body, I'll ease off and exercise or whatever. So I still, even now, a year later, I've still no idea what exactly I did to cause it. It might be just one of those things, or I might have done something. But if it was, I've no idea. So anyway, he said no to that, but he would do the other side. There's a laparoscopic option, but they don't really like that. That's where they put little holes. I had my appendix done in January 2020 via laparoscopic surgery. That was still uncomfortable when I woke up, but healed quicker because there was less external damage, if you like. So anyway, they said they would do it via standard with a local anaesthetic up at Syston. And he said he would do it on February the 12th. So, from me going in there, ready to blame mental health and say, I needed it now sort of thing. This was 27th of January. He said, "How's February the 12th? I went, "Wind taken out of my sails completely." And I went, "Yeah." And that was it. So I booked in. So the operation was interesting. You got a sheet over your stomach. They shaved me. I had 4 nurses plus the doctor the other side chatting to me about life. It's all a bit weird when you got everything revealed. But yeah, the surgery went well. I felt some pulling at one point, and he put some additional local anaesthetic in to deaden the area, if you like. Rather than that, really didn't feel anything. The first few days after recovery, once the local anaesthetic wore off, was blinking painful. I got up during the night, probably, I think it was maybe day two, to go to the loo, and I passed out basically. I fell over in the bathroom, woke up again immediately, um, and I was okay after that. That's the only time that happened. I took the meds exactly as they suggested. They rang me 24 hours afterwards and asked me how things were, and I said, yeah, everything was fine. And after that, then it was just a case of allowing everything to heal. They said to leave it 6 weeks before doing any lifting as per my job. So I did that religiously. Held right off. I did a bit of walking. There's a video I did at the time because I was going out walking with my 30-year-old son who has Down syndrome at the time, and he walks quite slowly. So we just walk around the block, and I'm usually having to wait for him to catch up. On this day, he knew exactly where to go, and he just wandered off without me, and he was about 100 yards away from me at one point, because I had to slow down and I couldn't keep up, and he was off. So that was quite funny. So I gave it time to heal and everything, and then gradually reintroduced all of the stuff I do. I do a lot of sit-ups, press-ups, and squats. They are the kind of staple exercises I do as part of a martial arts coaching and part of martial arts training, really. Those are great exercises, those three on their own. It's not going to turn you into an Adonis, and it won't massively help you lose weight, but it does keep a basic level of fitness and a good level of muscle tone. And obviously those are exercises you can do anyway. You don't need any equipment or need a gym in order to do a sit-up, a press-up, or a squat. So I kept doing those and gradually reintroduced stuff. About a month or so ago, I decided, I have these little ideas, I decided I was going to do 100 sit-ups, 100 press-ups, 100 squats in chunks, and I did 3 sets of 35. Did really, really well. I did that for about, I think I did about 4 sets of that, something like that. And then I felt a bit of pulling in the lower abdominals, somewhere near the hernia site, so I just eased off. So the pulling I'm feeling might be just the way it is now. Obviously there's scar tissue there now. It's not going to be as elastic as an area that hasn't been operated on. So I get mild pulling, very, very mild pulling from there on occasions. Usually I just ignore it and carry on. If I'm in the middle of an exercise, I may slow down, I may stop that exercise, I may go to a different exercise. But to be honest, I've always done that. I did some bicep curls beginning of this week, and I felt my left bicep pull a little bit. So I just stopped doing the bicep curl. I'll come back to that. I'm going to do it today with a lighter weight, but I'll come back to that. I don't think there's any damage there. I think I just overdid the weight that I haven't done for quite a while. So would I have it done again? Yes, 100%. If the other side went, God forbid, if the other side went, then yeah, I'd probably book in and get that done as well. But other than that, yeah, it was a slick, easy process. The clinic I went to was like a large GP surgery, if you like, or a very small hospital. And they just did carpal tunnel, which is your wrist, and hernia operations, and that was it. And probably 4 or 5 blokes who went in were similar age to me, similar build to me. Generally fairly fit-looking people who were just happened to have a hernia. So it's certainly not uncommon, very, very common. I don't have any answers as to why I got my hernia or to how to stop a hernia going forward. I've always been very careful. I've always tried not to strain and get really red-faced and squeeze and everything. But sometimes these things just happen. And nothing specific happened just before I realised I had a hernia. I wasn't constipated. I wasn't lifting heavy weights. Nothing happened that specifically triggered it. So I have to assume it was a progressive thing that had happened maybe over a month, maybe over 6 months, maybe over a year, for all I know. It might have been gradually getting to that point, and then it just got a large enough hole and out popped the intestines. I wouldn't want to live with it. Given a choice, as I say, between living with it or having it operated on, and then yeah, I'd have it operated on. There is, if you look it up, you'll find that men have before their testes descend as a baby, they live in that inguinal canal. So it's basically like a tube or a hole that's there the rest of your life. So it's very easy, really, for the intestines to pop through that lower abdominal wall into that area because there's nothing in there. What do you do to fix that? Nothing. I think you just manage. The NHS was brilliant, absolutely first rate, couldn't fault them at all. So yeah, they did a brilliant job with all of that. So we're going to crack on and do some exercise. We'll do some bicep curls and some bench press. That's my exercise for today. So it's going to be a long one because, as I say, it's been a year since I had my my surgery. So I wanted to mark that occasion and also give you an update on where I am. If you've got questions or anything, then bung some questions, and I'm more happy to help. A good friend of mine's had his done. He's 72. He had his knee done, and then he had his hernia done. And then he was going to go deep sea diving a month later, and I thought he didn't in the end. He'll laugh if he sees this, I'm sure. Yeah, so he seems to recover well. Actually, must check up. Actually, I haven't spoken to him in a while. But yeah, so any age, I'm actually 59. I'm 60 in May. And yeah, I'm really pleased to maintain my fitness and stay where I am. So let's crack on with some exercise.